Hello everyone and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet Christmas Eve edition for 2023. It's been a great show so far, lots of festive holiday vibes. Personally, thank you to everyone here who's chilling with me on live on the stream. And for those of you watching on demand after the fact, I hope you're enjoying the vibes as well. It is time for us to do Q&A. Once a week, we have a little bit of the segment here taken out for those who are super members of the channel to ask a few questions. And this week, it looks like all of the questions are holiday themed. So let's see what people have to say. First question. At all of your previous jobs before you had YouTube as your job and streaming, did your jobs ever have a Christmas party and did you ever attend? Well, no retail jobs really have a Christmas party. So nothing there. There really was no Christmas party when I worked at that Wells Fargo bank-style job. Really, the only job I ever had that had a Christmas party was when I worked at the helicopter place. And they did have an annual Christmas party event. I usually did not attend. I went 1 year, and that was actually the first time ever in my life I was introduced to having fresh roast beef with horseradish. I had never had horseradish sauce before. And so I got this plate of roast beef, and I said, they said, this is the sauce for it. Okay, and I went to eat it, and I was like, whoa, because I had no idea that sauce had a spice to it. And it made my eyes water because it was so strong. But I actually loved the flavor. I was like, wow, that actually really works with beef. And from then on, I enjoyed roast beef with horseradish sauce. Outside of that, there was some drinks and stuff. You know, I hung out with a few coworkers, but nothing too crazy. It was, you know, they basically rented out like a ballroom at a hotel nearby. You go in, you have a few drinks, you eat some food, you schmooze a bit, and you're out of there. No, I didn't do anything too crazy. I don't have any Christmas party stories or anything like that, because I only went to that one ever and nothing really happened. Did I ever buy a small Christmas tree for the holidays? So first of all, when I was a kid, we had one big Christmas tree in the living room of our house, okay? Then my parents decided to get myself and my cousin each our own individual mini Christmas trees that we would have in our bedrooms. And we could decorate these however we wanted. See, my mom liked that because she liked decorating the family tree how she wanted. And then I would have my own tree. I would decorate it how I wanted, and my cousin had her tree, and she would decorate it how she wanted, you see? So, hey, I would have ornaments that were like, you know, superhero related and stuff like that, you know? Gonna put a Ninja Turtle ornament on my tree in my room. That doesn't go on the main tree in the living room, though. My mom wanted to have her own kind of decor and style for the house, so couldn't have that mixed, right? So, yeah, I actually had like a small tree. I would say the tree was probably 2 to 3 feet tall in the bedroom, and it had its own little lights and little star and things that I would put on it. Now, after that, you know, as I grew up, no, I didn't have an individual tree in my room, and I always had a full-size tree. When I lived by myself, remember I had the place back in Connecticut, the condo, always had a full-size tree there that was my own. And then when I moved here, I actually bought a really nice pre-lit tree that I had for many, many years. But now it's broken, actually. It doesn't work anymore. And then when my wife and I got Jasper, we were like, well, we're not going to get a full-size tree because we know a cat is probably going to climb in it. So we ended up getting a small tree again. And I would say the tree we got was maybe 2 feet, maybe 2.5, small. You could put it on a coffee table and decorate it. And it was pre-lit with some lights, and it also had like these little berries. I don't know what they were supposed to be, like maybe mistletoe berries or something. I don't know. And some like frosting, you know, on the tree to make it look like it was outside. And we added lights to it, and we added some ornaments to it. You know, over the years that we had it, we had like our engagement ornament, our marriage ornament, and stuff like that. We actually have an ornament that says, hey, Jasper, and stuff like that. We had that tree for about 2-3 years, and then it broke. It wouldn't turn on. The berries were coming off of it. The good news is that Jasper never attacked that tree because it was small. He never thought of it as like, oh, that's a tree for a cat to climb in. And we've intended to get a new tree, but it never really works. Like this year, we 100% were dead set that sometime in like November, we wanted to go out and get a new tree to replace that one. And then what happened was I got sick. We both got sick around late October, right? Early November with that. We think it was COVID. And then after that, basically every week that we were out, we were so backlogged on stuff. It was like, okay, so we're going out and we have to do all of our doctor's appointments, this and this and this, and do everything together. We just never had time to do it. So it's kind of been like the last 2-3 years we wanted to get another small tree, and we just never had opportunity to get one. We definitely want to get another one at some point. What's the latest I ever went Christmas shopping? I don't recall necessarily ever doing last minute Christmas shopping. When I was a kid, a lot of the times we had this like Christmas fair at my elementary school where you could buy little knickknacks and things. Like I would get something for my dad, my mom, and other people there and give it to each of my family members as like a, you know, a nice personalized gift. As I got older, typically I would order ahead. Like I would always get something ahead. Almost always. I don't really recall ever rushing out the week of Christmas to try to buy Christmas presents or anything like that. Have you ever had a year where you celebrated Christmas by yourself? No, and the reason I say that is... Okay, hold on. Yes. When I lived in Connecticut, I was always near my parents. So I would always celebrate with my family. I would go over there, you know, even if I didn't live with them, I would go over there and have the Christmas day with my family. When I moved out here, obviously I was always, you know, together with someone, except for 1 year. 2017, you know, I had broken up with my ex. By the end of the year, I was dating my wife, but we weren't engaged or anything yet. She came out and visited me, but not Christmas. Like, I remember it was either earlier or I can't remember exactly when. It was either right before or right after. So she was here with me and we celebrated Christmas together, but it was early. And then the actual Christmas day, I actually spent by myself because she had already flown back home. That was before we lived together. So that was it. Yeah, I would say that 2017 was the only Christmas I actually spent by myself. Every other Christmas I was together with other people. So, do you send out Christmas cards every year? Yes, but it's a short list. It's not a giant list of, you know, if I still had a lot of my family members from back in the day who I was friendly with, probably I'd have a giant list. Like I told you guys during my Christmas, well, yesterday, my Christmas marathon podcast. I told a story about how I used to have a lot of family members we would get together with around the holidays, but the family had this weird falling out that I still don't understand to this day why it happened. So because of that, I don't really have interaction with any of my family members back home anymore. So, you know, we have a few friends, my parents, we send out a few Christmas cards a year and we try to do it right away. Like we did it first week of December this year, got it out of the way. So they're going to get them before Christmas. And that's that. So there you go. Thank you very much for asking those holiday-themed questions. I actually really appreciate that. Sarah says, are you allowed to have superhero ornaments on your tree now, or does Kat do all the decorating? Why would I want superhero ornaments on my tree now? I'm an adult. You know, I grew up. I wouldn't want that. I would want nice things that we shared together. I wouldn't want a superhero on my Christmas tree. You know, I would want ornaments that my wife and I would go and buy together and put on the tree. That's actually what we did. We had bought the tree and we went and bought a whole bunch of nice ornaments that we got together and we agreed on that we wanted to decorate with. So, okay. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the home stretch. About 45 minutes left here on DSP versus the Internet, episode 44, Christmas Eve edition. Let's see what other videos you've got for me. Do I miss relatives bringing up negative things about my life during Christmas? I mean, I was a kid when I got together with my family. I don't think they ever brought up negative things with me because we were all kids, you know? I never really celebrated Christmas as an adult with my family members besides my parents. I never saw them much after that. So, okay. Ready? Here we go.
In 1899, as the world was awaiting the arrival of the 20th century, a group of French artists were asked to imagine what life would be like 100 years into the future, in the year 2000. They accepted the challenge.
In the year 2000. Sorry, I've goo in my throat today, so it didn't sound too good.
And they took it seriously. After all, they were told that their work would be displayed at the Paris World Exhibition in 1900. They talked to scientists, businessmen, and thinkers of the day to compile a list of innovations that could possibly be in use by the year 2000. The vast majority of the images that I'm about to show you were made in 1899. Some of their predictions are laughable, some are almost right, and some are surprisingly accurate, and some are ahead of our time now. Never mind 2000. These images would go on to be used as cigar box inserts, and then for 70 years they were completely forgotten, until the 1980s when Isaac Asimov acquired a set of them and published them in a 1986 book entitled Future Days, a 19th century vision of the year 2000. The images that I'm about to show you show just how far humanity has come. Things that are normal and commonplace for us today couldn't even have been imagined in 1899. But they had a really good shot at it, and in some instances they almost got it right. Please sit back and enjoy L'an 2000, literally in the year 2000.
Okay.
Ships powered by steam at this point. This is a poor start for their future predictions.
They wanted to have a ship underwater riding on a whale. So it's kind of like a submarine, but it's powered by sea life. Or controlled by sea life. Huh.
Maybe the previous picture was a pleasure cruise underwater. It looks like everyone has hopped off the whale-powered sub
They're
for a
playing
game
polo
of underwater
underwater?
croquet.
How would you do that?
This is entitled Torpedo Plane. 4 years before the Wright brothers had developed powered, controlled, heavier-than-air flight, we were already predicting that war would be fought in the air.
Wow.
Sadly, they got this one right.
Yeah, they did. They actually did.
This one is entitled Battle Cars, but they've correctly predicted the armoured battle tank.
Yep. None of this existed back
So
then.
along the right lines here, we do have a lot of labour-saving gadgets these days, but having all of your beauty needs met at the flick of a switch is still some way off.
Still gotta do it yourself. No self-combing robots.
Oh dear, it looks like the croquet game has been interrupted by a giant octopus. They seem to think that we'll be spending a lot of our time underwater at the turn of the millennium. At first glance, this looks crazy. The teacher is feeding the machine with books, and the knowledge is being fed into their brains.
So basically, it's an auto teacher machine. The teacher selects the criteria, puts it into the machine then transfers that data into their heads. I mean, I guess you could say online learning courses are kind of like this, right? Especially like the ones we had during COVID, online courses.
Technically, on the same day as I'm writing this script, Elon Musk's Neuralink has just received FDA approval for human trials of his brain interface.
Wow.
Elon predicts that in years to come, we'll have AI and the internet in our brains via a neural lace. This is scarily accurate and still some way off, but it will come.
Yeah, right. I don't think everyone's gonna willingly allow people to put that shit in their heads. We're gonna have a culture war over that one. I don't want any fucking chips in my brain, dude. Just being honest. I don't trust it. I don't trust these humans to do
This is
the right
entitled
thing.
A House Rolling Through the Countryside. Well, we did have RVs in 2000, so it's partially correct.
Oh, it's like an
We
RV.
don't sit
only
on
it's
balconies
huge.
and roof terraces whilst on the move, though. They predicted sound without the need for someone to be there playing instruments. It looks like the conductor is flicking a switch and machines are playing the instruments.
An automated orchestra? I mean, yeah, we have that today. It's computers playing the music. Back then, they didn't understand that. They thought to have music, you have to have people really play it. So, yeah, this is basically having computerized music being auto-played for you, for sure. Only it's the physical version.
We're underwater again. And this time, it's a day out at the races.
They really love this underwater society idea, don't they? Riding fish.
This gentleman is receiving his voicemails in the morning. They're right about voicemail, but wrong about the delivery method.
Yeah.
His manservant seems to be bringing him a gadget, which will be played on his desk-bound audio device.
All right,
I'm
look at
going to give
two.
this
Those
one
tubes
partial
they used to
credit.
have that you would record on.
The late Victorians imagined us spending a lot of time in the air.
I mean, yes and no. It's not common air travel. It's only major air travel, consolidated travel on planes, but we don't have private planes like we have private cars, right?
They envisioned law enforcement with high-speed chases on powered bikes. We don't have the inbuilt riot shield, so again, partial credit. They predicted advancements in how microscopes would change our view of the world.
Well, they're right about that, too.
They predicted that we'd all have means of personal flight. These thieves are using their ability to fly for nefarious purposes, robbing nests perched high on rocks.
This is wrong completely. We don't have personal flight.
They thought that you could go into a clothes shop and have your clothes made on the spot, just for you.
Well, yes and no. Now what we've done is we've found ways to mass produce clothes in so many different variations that they're going to have what you need. You don't need to have it custom made. You can get custom tailored clothing, but it's incredibly expensive and time consuming, or you could just pick something that fits you perfectly that was already made ahead of time because they made so many because of mass production advancements. So yeah, they actually do have this, just not the way that they're thinking, right?
This one is entitled Intensive Breeding. The eggs are fed in at the top, and chicks are delivered via a chute.
Wow. Turn an egg into a chick instantly. All right, we definitely don't have that.
Again, this is a prediction of aerial military capabilities. He's a solo advance party observing the enemy from the air.
Oh, wait, it's a drone. That's totally a drone. See, they didn't understand automation back then, right? That's a drone. Doing that right today. That's 100% exists, just not a person manning it. They're remotely controlling it.
This is how they saw the future kitchen. They're right about the mod cons and the labour-saving devices, but this one looks more like a lab.
They didn't understand what it would look like. Looks different, but same purpose.
If we're all going to be flying, then you're going to need the aviation police. Here we have a routine traffic stop.
Yes, very possible.
Fishing for seagulls whilst underwater. Maybe they're predicting climate change and the rising of the seas.
Yeah, seriously, why is it all the underwater stuff that they predicted? That's really weird that they were so fascinated with living underwater, right?
I'm giving this a partial credit. Farms are now industrialised with incredibly efficient machinery. This farmer is managing his crops with just a flick of a switch. Maybe in 20 years, with the development of AI and robotics, this image will be even more accurate.
Sure. We're close now, but not
This
dead
guy
on.
is printing a house. Incorrect for the year 2000, but spot on for 2023. The architect is pressing a button and the house gets printed. Technology that is available today.
Yeah, they actually do have 3D printed houses now. That's true. I mean, I'm sure they probably suck, but they exist.
They predicted electric trains. No more back-breaking work for this housemaid.
It's the
No,
Roomba.
With just a tug on this brass bar, all of the cleaning is taken care of with this device. Again, they were way off the mark for 2000, but in 2023 we do have robot vacuum cleaners, so partial credit.
Yep, the Roomba. I got my parents a Roomba 10 years ago when I became a YouTuber. They loved it. And then it got clogged with cat hair and never worked again.
We're back underwater, and we've clearly found a way to make seahorses so big that we can actually ride them.
Look, dude, they totally were fascinated with this whole underwater, almost Atlantean-like life, right? I guess this is where Aquaman came from. All right, I think we've watched enough. We watched 7 minutes of it. This is a fascinating video. Some of the stuff, they were pretty close, honestly. Okay.
I did not hit her. It's not true. I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Lisa, you're tearing me apart.
Oh my God,
You know what
no.
they say,
It's great.
love is blind. Let's go eat out. Everything is fine. Jeep, 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 jeep. I don't mind. Jeep, 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 jeep. Everything is fine. Jeep, 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 jeep. I don't mind. Jeep, jeep, jeep,
Wow.
jeep, 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 jeep. You're tearing me apart. Oh, hi, Mark. Hey, everybody. Thank you. This is a beautiful party. You invited all my friends.
Hey everybody, let's eat cake.
I have an announcement to make. I fed up with this world. You're just a chicken.
This is actually better than the real movie. I've never seen the whole real movie, but I've seen outtakes and clips and reviews of it. This is actually better than the real movie. It's actually very, very musical. It sounds better auto-tuned. You ever seen the movie The Room? Ugh, not a very good movie. This is cool. It's got 6.2 million views. I'm not surprised.
How can you do this? You make me sick. Leave your stupid comments in your pocket. You're going to destroy Johnny. He's very sensitive. Leave your stupid comments in your pocket. bitch.
I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark. Lisa, you're tearing me apart. You know what they say. Love is blind. Let's go eat out. Everything is fine. Jeep, 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 jeep,
The cheap, 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 cheap is the refrain. Oh my god. Well, if you've never seen this movie, it's infamously one of the worst movies ever made. It's called The Room by Tommy Wiseau. The acting is atrocious. The plot is atrocious. It's atrocious. And everyone has actually studied the movie and microanalyzed it for all the ways that it's bad and use it as like a case study almost of filmmaking in a lot of ways. So, to hear autotune is actually kind of funny. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Too Far Away Time, the theme of Chrono Trigger. So good. What kills me about this game is that, I mean, we just played it in the summer, and I absolutely still love this game. The fact that this is absolutely one of the best plots ever written in a game, one of the best ideas for a video game ever, and they've never rolled with this and made other games like this or even another one. Like, I know Chrono Cross is supposed to be a sequel. It doesn't really play like this, but apparently it has plot lines that continue to it. With all the remakes, right? All the fucking remakes that they have made a zillion times in gaming, how in the holy hell did they not think, oh yeah, you know, only one of the most well-reviewed, respected games of all time, why don't we redo this in modern ways, right? Imagine if they redid Chrono Trigger. Modern graphics, modern voice acting, right? Remixed music or redone music with orchestral and everything, you know what I mean? And they added stuff to it, so it's not just the same game, but they added extra content, extra plot lines to it, extra outcomes, because that was one of the coolest thing about the game is seeing all the different outcomes you can get, right? Why in holy hell did they never do that? They'll remake all the shit, right? We'll have 12 versions of Last of Us, 400 remade Call of Duties. They're not going to remake one of the best games of all time with music like this. Imagine if this was the song in the actual fucking game. Right? Like, why did they not remake that? It's stupid. They absolutely should do this. They redid Final Fantasy VII before they redid Chrono Trigger. What the fuck? And Final Fantasy VII is good, but come on. How cool is this? That's a cool, unique guitar. Look at the top of it. This is really good, and this guy deserves way more than 510 views. It's a shame, because you see look how much talent this guy has, and he can't get his videos viewed on YouTube, right? No one will watch this. Instead, we'll watch a bunch of shitty drama videos and prank videos and dumb shit. But not someone who actually has, like, talent. Why would we watch that? That's so old YouTube. We don't need to watch those videos, right? Editing to see scenes from the game in it. He's singing too. That's actually him singing. Holy shit, I didn't even realize that. He's singing, playing the piano, and the guitar, man. Well, at the very least, When we watch a video like this on YouTube with only 510 views, we can say at least there's still people out there who have passion and want to share it with the world. It's just a shame that the world doesn't want to see it anymore, you know? Don't care about passion. We care about crap, right? How many people have probably seen Boogie expose his genitals to the internet a day or two ago? How many millions of people saw that, right? But how many people actually watched this? 510. The world's fucked up, man. I'm getting too old for this shit. So good. Of course it took a long time to make. You had to do all the different parts and edit it all together. So good. Yeah, show some love, man. If you like this, I recommend go check out this dude's channel, man. It's good stuff. All right, let's continue.
What up, it's Prime Pete. Just want to bring this to everyone's attention and remind everyone that Call of Duty is not the game that it once was. What once stood as the most popular franchise in gaming is now left with the player count getting beaten out by indie games like PUBG and Lethal Company, and even other long-standing old titles like Dota 2 and GTA 5. Needless to say, there are a couple of reasons that COD has seen a massive downhill spiral recently, ever since the release of Vanguard, but more notably, the worst game ever made, Modern Warfare 2. Players are really starting to wake up to the blatant manipulations of money-hungry Activision and the restrictions put in place to hold back good development teams like Sledgehammer Games from actually developing a game that can retain players for longer than a week. I'm not here to say that COD is dead or that it's going to die in the next year like everyone else. It's not going anywhere. But let's not forget that the 6v6 standard multiplayer experience, despite having really fun and well-designed movement mechanics and gunplay, is still just in the tubes. And there's nothing that Activision is really doing about it. And you can bet they're not going to do anything about it either. So let's put on our tinfoil hats and begin, shall we? For starters, let me remind you guys about the patented software that Activision created themselves that manipulates your in-game experience to be exactly how they want it. For example, this patent here shows the system put in place.
Acquire skill level data of each player, aggregate skill level data of all players, modify one or more parameters of the game session, present customized data to all players via a game console.
That changes your player attributes like your hitbox, health, and bullet damage in order to put you or your opponents at an advantage. You ever wonder why you pump a whole mag into someone, then they turn around and two-tap you with an SMG? I'm gonna blow your mind here, but to put it simply, the game is just rigged.
Gee, I only said this to everyone publicly, and everyone says, oh no, you just suck at the game. This guy analyzed the data and has proof. So fuck you if you ever said that I was making it up.
And it wants them to think they're good enough to get quick kills, and they want you to get aggravated so that you keep trying to prove yourself that you're good, when in reality, you're not crazy, the game is just working against you.
Told you!
Both scenarios, the player that's bad thinks they're better than they are, so they keep playing, and the good player has to prove themselves that they're good, so they keep playing. Shooting first and still dying in a few milliseconds? Yep, I reiterate, you're not crazy. Let's also talk briefly about how the game pushes the player to make in-game purchases. If a player buys a bundle in the store, they're rewarded for it by having great gameplay. How does this work? Well, either the SBMM makes an exception and throws the player into lobbies where everyone is much worse than them so they can dominate with their pay-to-win bundle skins and convince other players that they'll be good if they just buy some skins, or they'll just buff the player in question that bought the skin and give them more health or buff damage, or just shrink their hitbox. The list goes on. They basically just make it so they die way less often and get kills more easily. Not only will this subconscious...
Seriously. So if you buy junk from their store, like a skin, they give you a buff in the game. And it's proven because there's a patent showing that the technology was patented by them and exists. Wow.
Convince their customers that buying skins equals skill. It also signifies to the player that bought the skin that this cosmetic item made them a better player and more confident, so maybe they should consider buying another one. You ever wonder why the player with the brand new skin in your lobby is just so difficult to just kill once? Well, I hope this helped. Also, my source isn't trust me, bro. It's literally patented by Activision once again, and I'll put it on...
For example, microtransaction engine 128 may match a more expert marquee or otherwise influential player, e.g. a clan leader, with a junior player to encourage that junior player to make game-related purchases. A junior player may wish to emulate a marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items used by that marquee player. Other types of pairings and or groupings of players may be used as well. Wow.
On the screen here, and you could say, oh, they just patented it, they don't have to be using it, but the thing is, there's literally no reason for them not to be using it if they patented it. I can't imagine they just patent this methodology and just let it sit there, especially if it makes them money hand over fist. Additionally, let's talk about Call of Duty's matchmaking. Not only is it the most rigged thing about the game, it's also what keeps players playing the game the most, and is the biggest factor in some players' addiction to Call of Duty. We've all heard the term SBMM, or skill-based matchmaking, about 2 trillion times by now, since Modern Warfare 3 has come out, but using this name for the system is essentially incorrect at this point in time.
Okay.
Basically, there's a system called EOMM, or Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, that really all of these manipulative systems I've described fall under. It's basically like SBMM, but like 5,000 times worse. Instead of matchmaking based on skill, it essentially takes each player and says, alright, what match do I have to throw this player into to create the highest chance possible if this player plays another match, sees anything I just mentioned before, and then chooses to spend even more time or money on the game as a result. For example, if you do really bad in a game and get spanked by sweats on the other team, the algorithm might see your playing habits and predict you'll get off if it happens to you again. So it throws you a bone and gives you an easier lobby where you can get kills and satisfy your need to do well in a match. And after that, you'll just go right into another match of getting destroyed, wondering how you could have just played so well and then just did so poorly this game. Inconsistency breeds addiction more than anything else, and EOMM is the ultimate inconsistency machine. Whenever I get on COD, I notice my first game is really tough, and I may not do so well. That might force you to say, well, I'm not quite warmed up yet, I'm not in the zone yet, or other things of that nature. But in reality, it's just the game trying to aggravate me, so I play another match. You know what I do when I bottom frag my first game on? I just get off the game. Eventually, the algorithm will realize this pattern and throw me a bone my first game on. I try to play the system more than it plays me, but in a game where Activision are literally trying to control every aspect of the game as much as they possibly can, you can only play the system so well. Another huge thing that's rising is the obvious implementation of AI bots into normal online lobbies.
I'm interested about this because people say this sometimes, that there's AI bots in lobbies, but I can't discern between them.
Won't spend 15 minutes going through all the proof. Just give us some research on Reddit and watch Blame Truth talk about it. The point is, AI bots are being covertly slipped into lobbies to turn the tides and mess with the balance of each game. The team balancing is so scarily accurate that most matches end with extremely tight scores, and most games are hyper-competitive. However, by using these bots, the game can be tampered with to even more of an extent if the matchmaking and lobby balancing didn't do its job well enough. Bots can either be killstreak fodder, or they can tear up the lobby and drop close to 70 kills when everyone else can't even scrape 20, as seen in Blame Truth's video breaking down the existence of bots.
This player is an AI. How is this even possible? If this guy were a human, where's the skill-based matchmaking? Holy shit. Look at that.
Bots in lobbies that I'll link below. Regardless, AI bots are artificially created players that fill any discrepancies within a lobby, if there are any. In an attempt to make each match as close as possible, if some kind of a gap is left within the lobby and the skill levels of each team aren't quite balanced, the game will just throw a useless bot in your team if you're winning, or a complete MLG bot if you're losing too hard. I'm sure a lot of you watching this video have encountered some weirdly robotic players. It's no coincidence. Bots are being thrown into lobbies to even them out. Long story short, a game like Modern Warfare 3 with awesome mechanics and the most fun gameplay of the last 4 years or so is tarnished and becomes a questionable choice when you look at all these manipulative systems put in place with one objective in mind: for you to get addicted and for you to spend money on the game. First, matches are fun.
That's hilarious. I've never have. I've only bought the core game. I've never spent $1 on any microtransaction in Call of Duty, besides maybe a few years ago I bought the season pass to play zombies, but outside of that, I didn't care about any of that shit. Huh.
Fundamentally rigged from the get-go. The matchmaking algorithm decides whether a good or bad performance will keep you playing the game, and puts you in an exactly balanced lobby where the teams will almost undoubtedly be neck and neck the entire match, and you hopefully perform as the algorithm intends you to. If the teams are not balanced enough, enter the AI bots that will keep you engaged. If you somehow manage to break out of this system, you'll have players worse than you killing you in less time and less bullets than it normally takes, and you'll perhaps notice you start...
That happens to me all the fucking time, 100%.
Shooting marshmallows, or your opponent's hitbox is extremely tiny. The inconsistency within each match can easily breed a vicious cycle of addiction if players are unaware of what is truly going on, which then breeds too much time and money being spent on the game. And for the icing on the cake, any players who own cosmetics can sometimes even be buffed or put into worse...
Alright, so this is interesting. And of course, does this person have concrete evidence? No. But if it's all patented, obviously some of it's being used, right? And then you got people like Blame Truth. I know Blame Truth is someone who's heavily into the FPS, right? And apparently they also have evidence, so. Wow. All right, so. Good stuff, guys. We got one more part. for DSP versus the internet for this week. I hope that you're enjoying. I actually have really enjoyed a lot of these videos. They've been fascinating to me. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back shortly with the conclusion. But in the meantime, happy holidays to everyone watching and watching on demand, and I'll see you in the next and final part.